Dak, we'll start off with the SEC, and I'll go to you. Then we'll do the Big Ten, Stu. You can take that one to start. Start us off, Dak. SEC. I'll go second, Stu third, and then Stu, we'll do a little snake. You grab the Big Ten. I want to hear yours first. But yeah, Dak, SEC championship. LSU's got to be one of those teams. There's a lot of teams. Let me just go down the list of teams that could be, and I let you kind of pick. There's obviously the Georgias. There's Alabama was in it last year. Their schedule is pretty favorable. Texas, is this the year they're going to finally win the SEC? They've been in the championship, but didn't make it last year. Oklahoma, right? They're returning a lot. LSU, obviously. Ole Miss. I mean, if there's any more I'm forgetting, really, fellas, I don't know. South Carolina, I'm not buying that much stock into just yet.
Alabama. Yes, you already said Alabama.
Yeah. Of those teams, Tennessee, still taking a little step back on them. I like Heupel, but what are you liking here, Dak?
No, I feel like it is tough because you go through all those top teams that you just went through. They all played at least remotely difficult schedules. I kind of view it as three teams that have a good chance to go, and it's Georgia. And I mean, number one reason being is Kirby Smart. I think they've been to, I want to say outside, besides COVID, they've been to 8 in a row now under Kirby Smart at Georgia. It was a little bit different back in the day when they did the East and the West, and the East honestly sucked. So it was just penciled in. Georgia was going to that side of the championship game every single year for a long time. But still, that's impressive. You've been to 8 in a row, just about. You can almost just pencil in that they're going to be there again. We went through their schedule. They play Alabama. But otherwise, like, it's a manageable schedule. You don't get LSU. I don't think they play Texas this year, I want to say.
Georgia does not. No.
Yeah, Georgia does not, and so that's a big one. The other team that I do think has a very good chance to go is LSU, just because obviously what Lane Kiffin has already done in the conference. He brought in an unbelievable transfer class. The biggest question mark is how are you going to put it all together? It's a lot of new pieces, not a lot of time. The schedule's not easy. Can you get it going early? I'll say this. They have Texas and Alabama both at home back-to-back weeks. I think it goes Texas, then a bye, then Alabama. I think they win both of those, but early on, I see them dropping a couple that maybe they shouldn't because it takes a little bit to get things going. The teams that has to do it that I have in the championship game playing Georgia is Texas. That roster is unbelievable. And it's getting to the point, we talked about it a little bit last week, it's time for Sark to go in and actually get it done. Colin Simmons is insane on the defensive side of the ball. I think he's got like 21 sacks in 2 seasons. That's remarkable. Like, that's not I think Aiden Hutchinson during his time at Michigan had 18 total. Colin Simmons has 20 in 2 years. And then everything with Arch last year, that wasn't his fault. They couldn't run the football. People underperformed around him. They got all the pieces this year. The question is, can you put it together? You don't have to win that one against Ohio State. That would be a great start. But I do think at the very least, they're going to go through, take care of their SEC schedule. I'm picking Georgia to win it again, though. And it is as simple as until proven otherwise, why pick against them? Like, I could easily pick LSU or even go Alabama or Texas. If you want to throw in Ole Miss, so be it. Kirby Smart still runs the SEC. He drops more games now than what he did in the past. But I'm still picking him in an SEC championship. Look at what he did they lost to Alabama last year again in the regular season, and he dismantled them in the SEC championship game. And so I see them doing that again. Just to touch on a few of the other teams. I mean, Alabama's got a tough schedule. Obviously, freshman quarterback going to be tough. Ole Miss, you lose your entire offensive staff. Texas A&M, I think they were merchants of.
Yeah, I forgot to mention them. A&M also a team.
It might be a thing with Texas A&M where maybe they are being undervalued this year because I think a lot of people kind of wrote it up to their schedule wasn't bad last year, and once it came down to play Texas and obviously Miami, they didn't look very good. But that is like it's not going to be there won't be a lot of easy games. I'll say that. But I'm going Texas, Georgia.
Yeah, I'm with you, actually. Ditto, legitimately. That's what I'm doing. I'm going to go with Texas losing to Georgia. I got the Georgia Bulldogs. Same reason as you. I just think Sark gets out-coached. He does against Kirby Smart. We've seen it time and time again, and I'm not going to pick against it. Like you said, Dak, this could be, hey, if Oklahoma beats Texas in Red River, then it could be Oklahoma in this game. If LSU beats Texas at Death Valley, and that's the one that notches, I really could see LSU in this. Alabama has a favorable schedule when it comes to the SEC. And, they get to play against, again, this doesn't count for the SEC's sake, but they still get like Florida State, who I think they'll dismantle after they lost last year. They owe them one. And I think that could be a good kickstart for them to get the season rolling because they're, for once, under the radar, if you ask me, which that's insane to say Alabama's that. That's where we're at in 2026. I'm not buying the A&M stock. They lost a lot on their O&D line. Can they win 8-9 games max? Yes. But look what happened when we saw Texas. They were this classic story of got hot real quick, like veteran team. They went in, and credit to them, their good win. And why everyone was like, wow, is they went in and beat Notre Dame on the road. That was a big win for them.
Exactly.
But you watch them at the end of the season. That game against Miami, sure, it was close. Their defense, that was a horrible game. I remember watching with that guy. That was a horrible game. Miami felt like they got better and better, obviously, as the playoffs went on until Indiana, but even that game was close in the championship. But I say all this with them is they lost a lot on their O-line and D-line in the trenches. They lost a couple good receivers, right? They're still replenishing with good players. I don't think Marcel Reed's a bad quarterback by any means, but look at what happened when they played Texas, when Texas really started to put it all together. A little too late, obviously. I'm an Arch Manning believer. Listen, they might lose to Ohio State. If they beat Ohio State or not, it doesn't matter for this sake. I think they're going to go probably 10-2 this year, whether that's Ohio State win or loss. They have to make the playoffs. If they don't, I think Sark seriously is on the hot seat. You have all the resources. You have legit Arch Manning, who's fantastic. His red zone play calling has been bad. And now you have Muschamp there. It's like, okay, everything's there. So there's no excuse anymore. Wingo, who dropped a ton of balls. Like, you have Cam Coleman, like that guy. You saw the catch he did that went all viral a couple of weeks ago. Like, this guy's a fantastic receiver, was in the SEC. So yeah, I'm with you here, man. I'm going to go with chalk, but I'm going Georgia over Texas. I think watch out for Alabama, Oklahoma, and LSU kind of as that next batch. I don't know what Florida's going to be. I don't think they're there yet. I'm excited to kind of see what they will be with Summerall. I think he's a good coach. I just do. Now, they're a little bit away, obviously a year or two away, but yeah, man, I'm going to ride with you here as well. I'm going to do the exact same thing.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah, this conference is a gauntlet. I was just looking at pretty much every team's schedule, and you look at every team's schedule pretty much, and it's like, damn, this is an insane list of teams they got to play. And a lot of my reasoning for my championship game for the SEC is schedule based. I think I'm going to surprise you guys a little bit with who I have in mind. Right. Before I talk about who I have in mind, I'll give you guys a couple honorable mentions who aren't in it, but I think are just as good, could be in it for sure. I'm just not putting them in it. Two of them that absolutely have the talent could be there, honestly should be there if it wasn't for having one of the hardest schedules in all of college football, is Texas and LSU, both of them. I think both those teams could potentially be 3-loss playoff teams. They're that good. That have all the talent in the world, two of the best rosters in all of college football, but I just think those schedules, you lose one game you're not supposed to, and you're out of the SEC championship pretty much with how tough both those schedules are. So I'm not throwing either of them in there. Another team based on schedule that I feel like could have a chance to make it in, even though their roster might not be the best this season, they're just really young, is Tennessee. I think when you're looking at all the SEC teams, they probably have the easiest schedule out of every team in the SEC. Just in terms of who they get at home and who they play on the road. But like we said, they got Faison Brandon, true freshman. We saw with Bryce Underwood in the Big Ten last year how it is playing a true freshman. Obviously, you got Heupel, who's a little bit more of a QB whisperer. I'm sure Tennessee has a dedicated QB's coach for their quarterback that's 18 years old, unlike Bryce Underwood in Michigan last year.
Probably.
Yeah, I bet you they do.
Great call. That's a very outside of the box thinking idea by Heupel there, and I'm a big fan of it. So yeah, I think schedule alone, Tennessee could be in this conversation come end of the season. I'll start with the obvious one. I got Georgia in my SEC champ game. I just think Kirby Smart's they're due for a hell of a year this season. It just feels like it's been too long since we were really talking about Georgia being that legit threat to win the national title. Got Gunnar Stockton coming back, who I think we all like. I think we like. Listen, we became Carson Beck fans last year, but I think we like the vibes of Gunnar Stockton at Georgia a lot more than the vibes of Carson Beck at Georgia. They just bring a lot back on their roster in general, offense and defense. So I got Georgia and Kirby Smart in it. Now the surprise team, I think they're gonna get here off one man's shoulders alone.
Oh, I know.
Can I guess?
Can I
You
guess?
can guess.
Wait,
You
wait.
can
3,
both
2,
guess.
1, deck. 3, 2, 1. John Mateer.
Yeah, John Mateer.
Yeah. That man's shoulders.
You're both wrong.
Alabama?
Ole Miss.
Oh,
Trinidad Chambliss.
okay. All right. You got us.
Wow.
Yeah,
All
and
right.
a big
Okay.
a big reason for this is also schedule. I mean, obviously it's the SEC; they still have a hard schedule too. But just looking at theirs right now compared to some of the other teams I just mentioned, like the Texas, the LSU, Ole Miss definitely has a more favorable path in terms of who they're playing and where they're playing them to get there. But like I said, at the end of the day, it comes down to really how good is Trinidad Chambliss. I mean, if he balls out and has a Heisman caliber season, I think that's how they get there. And you know what? Who am I to bet against the kid from Ferris State, Michigan, just a few hours away from where we grew up? So to be different, I'm going Ole Miss, Georgia in my champ game. Going to have Georgia and Kirby Smart win in the SEC.
I like it.
I do too. I'll be honest. When you first started and you said you had a bit of a wild card, Ole Miss crossed my mind. And then once you said on one man's shoulders, I was like, "There's no way this isn't John Mateer." It had. I thought it had to be.
To be honest with you, I'm hotter on Alabama than I am on Oklahoma this season.
Dude, I feel like the consensus on Alabama is like their schedule isn't too bad by SEC standards, and I don't think it is, but they still have a stretch where I think they play Georgia, they play Tennessee, they play LSU, and they play somebody else too. I think Texas A&M, like pretty much
towards
all,
the end.
yeah,
the
pretty
end
much
of the season,
all
yeah.
in a row, which kind of happened to them last year, and they actually thrived a bit in that last year. But I mean, still, like that's not, you don't know what those teams are going to be, but it's not easy for a freshman quarterback by any means. That's for sure.
No,
Yeah.
it's not. I like that pick, Stu, because that's kind of a credit to this conference, though, right? There is so many teams that could file into this. Like there really is. I wouldn't be too shocked. And I think there's this tier of the SEC where you see all these teams make the playoffs. Like I would be shocked if we see another 5 teams in it. We listed off all those. Like they're just as good teams. Obviously, I think the Big Ten has the really elite of elite that won the last couple of years. Could Georgia win it this year? Of course they could. Could Texas? Of course they could. Ole Miss could make another push. Like Oklahoma could make a push. LSU has the talent. Like we could keep going on and on. You can make cases for at least 5 teams in the SEC where it's like, well, they could. So no, I like the call. I think Ole Miss is Trinidad Chambliss and Lacey. There you go. They're going to score the rock a lot. So like, I think Pete Golding's a good fit. I mean, they got to go off that energy they had, and hopefully they like establish confidence. I mean, Dak, not for your sake as a fan of LSU, but like they have some confidence. They won some games without Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, no, I mean, what Pete Golding did last year in the playoffs was impressive. Obviously, you can't deny it. Like he stepped in a weird time when he had previously said too, like he didn't necessarily want to be a head coach.
Yeah.
And Chambliss is crazy, and so you got to give him props. And I will say, like, I think LSU will end up being a better football team than them at the end, but that week 3 game that's
Early on at Ole Miss.
That's going to mean way more to them. You are going to get, like, Ole Miss could go play in a national championship game next year. LSU is going to get the best version of Ole Miss possible, even than one that would play in a national championship game. That's going to be the peak of Ole Miss. Will be that week 3 game.
I'll say this, Stu. Big game for you for this prediction here in Austin. Ole Miss comes to town. I believe it's October 24th. So pretty middle of the season there. That'll be
that's a fun one.
That's a big game here in Austin. So
that will. I mean, that and the LSU game are probably like the 2 deciding games for them if they do really make this a run this season or not.
100%.